Hi, welcome back. I'm Kevin and I'm here with live sound engineer Steve Pattison, who's been touring with some major artists for over 25 years now. And he's going to take us through some tips, tricks, hints, and his experience about working on the road and live sound. Hello, Steve. Welcome.
Great to be here.
Yeah, good. So we want to talk about how you got into sound engineering and what you've been up to and what's next for you.
Yeah, how did I get into sound engineering? So I was originally a guitar player. So I was at Leeds College of Music, studying music, and I was a guitarist. And I had a friend who was a producer, and he called me in every now and again to go and play on some songs here and there. So yeah, I ended up being a session guitar player for a little while.
Right.
And, the money was good. It was busy. I actually quit university and just went full-time, I'll be a guitarist. Because I think I showed you a picture before when I was probably like 3 or 4 years old, and I had a guitar from like, when it was this big, really big. So yeah, I was always interested in music and guitars and stuff. And it was, a guitarist. I'm like, great, this is really good. And then when you're in a recording studio, there's always a guy sat behind a console, the mixing desk. And you're like, well, when I'm not here, that guy's still there. He's got a job when someone else is here. So what if I have a go with that? And again, the same friend who's a producer said, call me in when you don't need a guitar player.
Yeah.
And I'll be what used to be called a tape op. And I'll make coffee, I'll sit in with the guy and help with the desk and stuff and whatnot. And, he nips out. And, I'm just nipping outside. Can you make sure it's still recording? Yeah, cool, yeah. And got into it that way and gradually became a studio engineer. After a while, it took a couple of years or whatever. But I'm just keep making terrible coffee and he won't ask me to leave the room all the time. So I became a studio engineer and then started to miss gigging a little bit, getting out there and traveling. And then a friend recommended a guy called Andy Doherty, who runs a great PA company. And he said, give him a call, he might have some work for you. See if you can do some engineering live. So I gave him a call and he foolishly gave me the opportunity to try and to get into the live world. And the live world, when you start, or originally, it was essentially pushing boxes, loading trucks, setting the gear up. Yeah. I get to be like the third man on a gig. So you'd have a front house guy, a monitor guy, and then you'd be the help. You'd be the third guy, helping set up, plugging stages in, making sure everything's put together with those guys and follow, learn that way. And eventually, one of the guys, I think he twisted an ankle or something somewhere, and the boss said, right, you're mixing today? And it's kind of like, oh, okay. And off you go. And I was mixing monitors for the first time, and it's like, oh. And I think being a musician, I had a bit of an advantage when you come to sound engineering, because you kind of know what it's supposed to sound like. And you know what, and if you've been a musician on stage, you know what it's like to be on stage and what you need to hear. If you're stood on stage playing guitar or bass or singing or whatever, or keyboards, you'd be like, right, I need to hear myself. I need to hear some drums to keep time to. I need something to pitch to if I'm singing. I need to hear my voice. So you can glue it all together that way. So mixing monitors for people who don't speak much English, they point at instruments, turn this up, turn that up, and you can hear it and you go, oh, I'm stood over there, he's playing that, and dial it in, and they go, yeah, great, cool, next guy, what do you want? All right, dial it in. And the boss clicked, he's kind of like, oh, you know what you do. Yeah. Cool. You can do shows, you're in now. And you're like, oh, sink or swim. Straight in there, and that was back in about 95, 96, something like that. Yeah, so I went from just being a poor musician to being a poor sound engineer. Yeah. Overnight.
And still going something's work. It's over 25 years, is it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, quite a while now.
Yeah, it's been going for a long time now.
So that's kind of how I got into it, because there was no school to go to. There was no formal qualification in sound engineering. I think that's a relatively new thing that's come about. And a lot of that, it's good because people can kind of have an idea of what's actually going to happen. But it's also good when the people come out of these colleges and go to, say, PA companies and lighting companies and all the rest of it, and see in real life what it's like. Well, it's in a giant warehouse. Yeah. And then it's got to go on a truck, and the truck driver's got to know where he's going. And there's so many parts to the industry. There's not just I'm the superstar lighting guy, superstar sound guy, whatever, or the guy on stage. There's so many parts to it, and it doesn't work without everybody. It's a great big team effort. And ultimately, it needs to be teamwork. Everybody needs to work together, from the guy on stage making a noise to you making it louder. Yeah. you know, to the guy selling beer to the audience, so they can they're like, yeah, buzzing, yeah,
It's a full show, isn't it, for everyone? There's always people working behind doing that. So I guess if you're into some music, there's always some different avenues that you could go into.
Totally, and you might not even think about it. There's so many different things. Like I said, I was obsessed with, I used to play guitar, like 8 hours a day, every day, and I'd love it. It wasn't a chore. It was just great. I'd just pick up a guitar and play, write songs, or play, whatever your favourite artist at the time was, and you'd be jamming along and learning how to play like them. But yeah, just there are so many other avenues that you can go down in the industry.
How many bands or artists have you worked with?
Lots.
A lot.
Yeah, you try and remember a whole list of different people, kind of. So one of the first kind of name acts when they came through. Was a band called Winehouse.
Oh yeah,
they had a Teenage Dirtbag and all that kind of stuff. They were great fun.
Yeah,
and I got that gig. Again, I was teching, looking after the monitors and stuff on the gig, looking after the monitor guy. And one of the guys was leaving. He wanted to change his move upstate New York, change what he was doing. So they'd just done a European run. They went, "Hey, you guys were really good. How would you like to do the gig for us?" Yeah, great, cool. Yeah, so I became the monitor guy.
What kind of festivals have you done? Have you done quite a few outdoor festivals?
Loads of festivals, lots of European festivals, and they have it nailed. The European festivals like Puckle Pop and Pink Pop and all those kind of things. They are brilliant. They do it really well. UK, we have some great festivals as well. Run a little differently. In Europe, the festivals, they tend to flip-flop the stages, and you get a chance to see more acts. Yeah. There are less acts on, but you get to see everybody. It's not like every stage is on all the time, which is like in the UK and many other places. You'll find that there'll be like 2 main stages and then 2 smaller stages and stuff, and they're all on from midday all the way through till midnight, essentially 12. On they're all, there's no stops. Yeah, there's change over time, and that'll be 30 minutes or whatever. But a lot of European festivals, stage A is on, stage B is on, which means you get a longer change over time, get your setup done correctly. As soon as that finishes, that one starts, everybody runs that way. A lot more civilized.
Yeah.
And again, it's easier for noise control as well, getting it to sound good. The wind will just take it.
Yeah, anytime, just a gust.
It's like, oh, it sounds dull. It's like, yeah, and the wind stops. Oh, there it is, it's okay. Don't fight it. Don't be like dialing in more top end, trying to beat the wind, because as soon as the wind changes direction, you'd be like, ah.
Yeah. Crazy. So let's talk about some gear.
Yeah.
So when you're going on tour, are you using the same thing, or are you taking your own gear? Is there always stuff there?
So slightly dependent on budget, but yes, normally you would tour, say UK and Europe, you would tour the same package everywhere you go. So I would use the same mixing console and same PA system and stuff. When you get worldwide travel, sometimes it's not financially worthwhile shipping equipment from UK to Australia or to Asia or stuff. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it just makes sense. They don't have the equipment you want. Yeah. So you've just got to push and sort out the budgets with promoters and stuff, and they'll have to cover the cost of shipping or move. But yes, you'll take your own equipment everywhere. If you can't take your own equipment, you'll have a spec, and you'll send that spec out and say, I'm asking for, and you have your list of gear. I'll be like, I'm using a Yamaha PM7, and I need the RPIO input-output unit. I need this Dante card with sample rate converter on it, and blah, 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 and you send out that, and they'll come back and go, we've got this, that, and the other, and hopefully it'll match up, and you go, yes, that's fine. Yeah. So you'll just turn up on the day and put your USB key in, load your show file, and it should all be good to go.
Everything works.
Yeah.
That's good. Sounds pretty
That's the theory.
Easy. Yeah, hopefully everything works.
That's the theory. Yeah, pretty much it always does. And that's one of the main things when you're talking about gear is reliability. Yeah. It has to turn on every day. The gear takes a beating. It goes into a truck, goes down bumpy roads for thousands of miles and stuff. It'll be freezing cold overnight. It'll be brought into a warm venue. It'll be left out in the rain. It's in flight because we're left out in the rain, and they get a beating. And you need it to be super reliable, sturdy, turn on every day. It's no good having the latest, greatest thing with these magic plugins and everything else that they've just put on whatever product if you can't get it to turn on, if it doesn't work, if it's crashing, if it's like it's buttons, it doesn't, the screen's not responding. That's no good. I want it every day. Turn it on and go, there it is.
It works. That's it. Works. Do you have any sort of ones that you? Sorry, go on.
And that's the main thing in the equipment. I can use any sound console. I'm quite happy to mix on anything, but it needs to be working.
Yeah, it needs to be reliable. Yeah, super reliable. Do you have like a I guess, sort of some mixing desks that you always stick by, you know that these are always going to work?
Yes, there's a few brands. The Yamaha is super reliable, Heath's super reliable. Some of the other consoles, software-wise, they've got better, but they've still been a little bit glitchy here and there. They do all work. They all do the same job, and there's no bad professional quality mixing console. They're just different.
Yeah,
that's all. And like when you look at like an analog style desk, you can see what's going on. You can see at a glance. You know, when you look down the row of knobs, you can see exactly what's happening. On a digital desk. You can't necessarily do that. It's laid out differently. It might have one screen, it might have three screens, it might have one screen and a master section. It might, you know, so you select a channel and this master section will now be what's displayed on that channel. Well, you might come to something where you can listen, you can solo a channel and select something else. So you might be listening to something you're not looking at. So you do have to be careful with your workflow and make sure you do stuff that you can link solo and select. It's all down the line for people.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get yourself in a knot, whereas on something like this, it's much easier. You can see,
just see
what's going on.
Everything there.
It's easy. You know what you've pushed the button to select. It's there. It's right in front of you. In digital, you might have selected something else and you might have jumped on a different layer.
Yeah.
So the thing you're listening to is not even in front of you anymore.
Yeah.
So think about what you're doing from the very beginning. And it takes time for you to learn a new console simply because the layout is different. No one's set on the same thing. Everyone's got their own idea, and some of them are easier to navigate than others.
Yeah.
If you can navigate your way around the console, you can use the console. If you get stuck, then you'll just do basic functions, and that's fine. That's fine. Audio in, audio out, as long as you can patch it. I mean, on this, it's analog. You just plug a cable in.
Yeah.
Microphone cable in. Hello. Fader up, that works.
Working, yeah.
When I'm mixing or when I'm in the audience, if I look at someone on stage, at anyone in a band, I want to be able to hear it without having to go, I can't tell what they're doing. If I look over and see a keyboard player, I should be able to hear something that's coming from a keyboard. That might be a crazy sample, it might be a piano, it might be whatever. But as long as I'm like, yeah, he's playing. Oh yeah, she's playing. Oh yeah, he's singing.
I can hear everything clearly.
Well, whoever you look at, you hear, and you can tell, and it's all there, and it's all balanced and correct. You know, if you have like management or the guitarist dad stood next to you, so turn the guitar up. It's like, well, that's not what it sounds like on your recording, is it? It doesn't sound like, you know, it's not guitar dead loud and everything else not. It's like, no, it doesn't sound like it. sounds balanced.
That's what you want. I guess, like, because you've worked in like a few different things, like you've done the bands and you've also done like the comedian stuff and a few others. Like, how much is that sort of, is it differ between them or like the fundamentals?
Massively, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that ties together, and it'll come from the same ethos of intelligibility. Of it all ties down to sound at source, whether that source is a comedian telling a joke, or your guitar amplifier, or your drum kit, or your keyboard, or whatnot. Does it sound right at the beginning? It's, the guitarist playing away, and he might have his headphones in or whatever, and he'll say, hey, can you turn the mids down? You say, it sounds very MIDI. And you go, like, take your ears out, have a listen to your amp. It sounds quite MIDI. Yeah, well, turn the tone control on your amp down. Get that bit right.
Yeah.
I'll find the right microphone, put it in the right place, and from there on in, it should just sound like you. And if you make it sound the way you want it to sound, I'll just make that louder.
Yeah.
Essentially, my job is to make you louder, you know, and tie it all together, make it all nice. But yeah, if it's not right at the beginning, then, you know, you'd be tying yourself in a knot, trying to EQ stuff, push stuff in. There's I use a lot of subtractive EQ. I'll turn things down I don't like.
Right.
You can get rid of things. You can't put in what isn't there. 10 times nothing's nothing.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter how much I turn that frequency up. It's like, if it's not there in the first place, it's not, I'm just boosting for, it's pointless, and it could cause other issues, So if you get a full sound at the beginning and the right sound, you should be able to do it really simple. It's just like on a regular console, you just high pass filter, you know, let's get rid of the bottom end. You don't need it in certain instruments like your voice. Like if you're a comedian, people don't know the words. So they're not singing along.
No.
You know, they're there to hear the joke and they don't know the joke. That's why it's funny.
Yeah.
So it has to be intelligible. It has to be quality. Everywhere you go, you should have pristine quality. And you'll end up putting more PA in for a comedian at the O2 than you will for a rock band.
Right, yeah.
Because you can have a great big strip of speakers, fire it down the room. Great, everyone's rocking, great gig. You can't do that when there's one microphone with a big strip of noise next to it, it suddenly, the microphone reacts to the room. And, you know, if you hold the microphone in the right place, get it near your mouth, you know, some people hold it down here, whatever, and walk around, you know, so you'll end up with a slightly smaller PA there and another PA somewhere else and another PA somewhere else. And it'll all tie together and everybody should be able to hear it really clear. It's more work for the PA guys. They've got to put more stuff up in the roof, the riggers, blah, blah, blah.
But like you say, everyone's like paid for a seat somewhere, so you're trying to like make it sound good for everyone.
Exactly,
in the space, aren't you?
exactly. But get it right at the very beginning. It's like I was saying with the guitar sound or your drum. You know, if you tuned your drum, is it ringing? You know, if it's not ringing, great. If it is ringing, and you amplify that, it'll go boom.
Yeah.
In a room, and you go like, oh, you need to gate it, and the drummer's, oh, I don't want to put gates on it. Well, tune the drum kit.
Yeah.
So you know, you go have it one way or the other, make it sound right in the first place.
Yeah. So how do you figure out what to do with the sound, with the speakers, if there's no one in the room, and then you've got to like sort of fix it so when people are in the room, the sound does sound good? How do you know that?
Experience, but the other thing is, tell your band, don't play your best song first.
Yeah.
Because you might go, oh, I really made a really big mistake here, and have to retune everything and kind of dial it in a bit. And you go, oh, right, all that top end's gone, it's all really dull now, because it's not bouncing off everywhere, because there's people absorbing it and stuff. There's simple mistakes people make. Small PA systems, you know, like the speakers on a stick, essentially. If you go into a pub, wherever you go down the Dog and Duck or whatever, and a karaoke is on, or there's a band setting up, 9 times out of 10, the speakers are in the wrong place. It's like they put them too low. Straight away, it's kind of, you put them at head height. It's kind of like, well, that's great for the first row of people.
Yeah.
And when I'm stood at 16 people back, they're all stood in my way, and it's like, oh, all right, I can't see the speaker. If you can't see the speaker, you're not going to hear the top end of the speaker. Get the speakers up high as you can, safely. Use a high quality stand or whatever you're stacking it on, and to angle them down. You know, you don't want it skimming people's heads either. You want to point it down at them. That's why when you go to a big arena show, the PA's up in the air and it's pointing down. You know, it points towards where the seats are. It'll go up for them, it'll go across for them, and it'll go down for the people on the floor. Yeah. You know, point it at what you want to hit. You know, it's that easy. Yeah. So you've always, for like speakers setting up, you always want them up high. Yeah. Just leaning. Yeah, and sometimes so everyone. Sometimes I go into a venue. If you're doing a small tour of clubs or something, some people might think you're being a pain in the ass, and then they'll hear it and they go, I understand why you made me restack it. Yeah. It's go like, because at the mix point, or as half the audience can't really hear what's going on, they're kind of jumping up and thinking, I can hear it when I put my head up. But when and then someone's girlfriend a bit short and she can't hear it very well, it's like, just if you can't see it, you're not going to hear it properly. So get them up high and point them at your target area. It's like, if you're in a small pub or a club or whatnot, don't fire it at the bar. Those people are trying to order drinks. Yeah. Essentially, they're paying your wages because the venue needs to make money, and the venue then pays the band for playing and all the rest of it. And if they're all like, I can't, what do you want? What, 2 vodka? What do you want? It's like, don't point it at them. They're busy getting a drink. Point it at your audience area. Yeah. If your room's a wacky shape, then the speakers might not be symmetrical. You might have to put one further out, or you might add another speaker. All of these speakers, they've got a through socket or an output, and you can plug an XLR into that and have another speaker around the corner. If you've got an L-shaped room, all the people around there can't hear you, so why not have another speaker just right on that corner and fire it that way? Yeah, just fire it out. Just making sure you're hitting everyone. So what would be your top tips for getting good sound in a room? You've already got your sound at source right. You've got the right microphone in the right place. And you've been really neat with your cabling, because if something goes wrong, you've got to trace the fault. Yeah. So you've done all that, and so have a listen to the PA system. Put something on so you can tune the PA system. You can hear what frequencies the box might be emanating or what the room might be exaggerating. Get hold of a microphone, speak into it. It should sound like you. Yeah. You know. Yeah. Is it boomy? Is it ringy? Okay, so if you've just pushed a high-pass filter in, pulled a little 200 hertz-ish out and speak into it, it should just sound like you. It's all about the room and the acoustics of the room. Is it a shiny room? Is it reflective? Or is it dull? Is it carpeted? If it's carpeted, you shouldn't have to do really any much to it whatsoever. If it's really reflective, what you've got to do as well, for one thing, you've got to hope you sell lots of tickets so the people can soak some of that up.
Yeah,
'Cause they're really good at that. so make sure you've sold all your tickets. Get people in there, and then they will absorb a lot of the reflections. But so you need to be aware that all of that brash mid and top that was bouncing off the floor in the sound check, because it's a big empty floor, that won't be there later. It'll be okay. It'll be. Sometimes in a sound check, people will watch me and go, "What's he doing?" And I'll be like ducking down a little. And it's like, because the mixing console, when I duck down, I'm hearing it off the floor. I'm hearing it direct. I'm hearing it off the floor. I'm getting all these reflections. And if I duck down out the way, then the desk's in the way and it covers. So it's like, oh, okay, it gives me a bit more of an idea as to what's going on and what it'll be like later.
Yeah.
So in a sound check, you just got to go, it's a bit brash. Don't worry. It will be fine later.
Yeah.
Trust me. Or maybe just turn it down a tiny bit, just a little bit. Always be sure that when you get to the gig, you can turn it up and nothing is going to feed back. A microphone will hear itself from out in the room. The PA system will fire the noise out. It'll bounce around the room, come back into the microphone, and you get a feedback loop. Sometimes it's so quiet you won't even notice it. It might be a low pitch thing or whatnot, but everyone's heard squeals and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You used to get a lot with wedges. If you have wedge monitors and stuff and you point the microphone, instantly that's, it's hearing what's coming out of there and going straight back round in a loop, and it'll squeal, and you don't point the microphone at the speaker.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just tricky. Some of the acts I work with an Irish band called The Script, and Danny and the boys, they love being in the audience.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'm mixing and they're right in front of the PA system because, and you have to learn to deal with it. You have to be able to listen for any frequencies that might be going to be set off in the instrument or whatever it is you're miking up, or the vocal microphone. So we'll have a drum kit on a B stage in the middle of the audience. That's a dozen plus microphones right in front of the PA.
Yeah.
And when Glenn's playing, he's going to hear himself back in the PA. He's got his in-ear monitors in, so he has to turn his pack up to make sure he can play. Because otherwise, there is, it travels at the speed of sound, not the speed of light. So it does take time. For every foot of distance, it's roughly a millisecond.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like back from the acoustic thing of hitting a drum kit in the middle of the audience to it coming out of the PA system.
How do you minimize that sort of feedback?
Get a good gain structure. Make sure you've got a good input into your console. You'll see green lights, orange lights, red lights. Let's get it to the top of green, at least. I mean, the metering can be different on certain digital consoles. They measure them in different ways, but if you go to the top of green, that is a good start.
Yeah.
If you're just tickling the orange, fine, that's all good. From after that, you shouldn't really have to boost too much in your EQ to get it to sound natural. You should just take away what you don't want.
Subtractive EQ.
Subtractive EQ as opposed to additive EQ. You can use additive EQ, of course you can. It's much safer if you're taking stuff out than if you're boosting stuff in there. Trying to turn something up that isn't there, it doesn't work. The microphone, you got to make sure it's not hearing itself. Placement, stay close when you're a singer. Stay close to the microphone. If you want to hear yourself in the wedges, stay close to the microphone. Is the wedge pointing at you? Is it pointing at your knees? Oh, well, you're not going to hear it very well. Move it further away, or get a little block of wood and chock it up. Make sure it points at your ears for you to hear it. Are you singing really quietly? If you are, get other people to turn down. A lot of acts now, you'll see perspex screens around drum kits. Stop the noise, because you'll hear a drum kit down the microphone and he'll be in his ears, clattery, I don't need any drums and all this kind of stuff. It's minimizing ambient noise getting into the microphone, trying to get a clean signal from each microphone so you can bring it together and have control. Power's nothing without control. There's no point having a really big PA system if you don't know how to control and harness it and use all of the facilities that are on your mixing console or your outboard gear or your plugins or whatever you're using. If, like I say, power is nothing without control. You need to really be able to control all of the sounds, and small gains make a big difference. A lot of input channels for some of the bands I work with are up to 50, 60 inputs. So that's a lot of channels coming in. And if there's a little something in every one of those, that's 60 times something, and that's kind of like adding up. So I can clean the sound up. I might want to have a little gate here on this or on that, or change this, or maybe that fader down in that song. He's not playing that instrument, turn it off. Simple stuff. You got acoustic guitar, you put it on your stand. turn it off.
Yeah, you don't want it.
Otherwise, they'll be like, what's that ringing noise? Oh, his acoustic guitar's still on. Turn it off.
Yeah.
Tell your sound guy in the set, this is a loud one, this is a quiet one. This one, he plays the marimba. On this one, he's got the acoustic. On this one, So he's got an idea what to follow, because he might know, he might not have heard you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sometimes you don't have a... if you're in a band and you're trying to hear something, ask your monitor engineer. He hasn't got a mind-reading hat on. He doesn't know that you need more hi-hat if you haven't asked for it.
Yeah.
He might set up a basic mix for you if he's not worked with you before and get it started. But, you got to ask for stuff. Don't expect to have everything in there straight away. It's kind of, ask for things.
Yeah.
And the monitor engineer needs to, how to approach people. He's really got to be, it's almost like a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
He's got to make sure everyone's comfortable and confident. When people ask me, what's the best microphone? I go, the one you're most comfortable with. Another singer is Marty Pello. He's got amazing vocal, great singer. He's obsesses over microphones sometimes and wants to change them. And I can work with any of the microphones because they're all high quality microphones that he chooses. It's great, and he likes the one that he likes. So, is that okay? Are you good with that, Pato? Can you use that? Yeah, it sounds great, Marty. Cool. The more comfortable he is, so if he can hear what he needs to hear, or any band, if they can hear, they perform better. The better they perform, the easier my job is. And then the audience have a great time because the band are playing really well. Yeah. It sounds great because they're happy on stage, makes my job much easier. Yeah, it's all about personality when you're touring and being able to kind of read people and keep them happy, Keep yourself happy as well. Make sure if you think it's wrong or something's wrong, put your hand up, ask, say, is your bass okay? It seems to be something, buzzing, fizzing somewhere. What's going on? Is there an issue? There's a microphone hitting the grill. Yeah. Is the battery running out in your acoustic? Did you change the battery in your acoustic? That's always a fun one. The people starting out, they don't realise this guitar takes a battery, does it? Yeah. I didn't know that. You know what I mean? There's simple stuff that people don't realise. It's got a little piezo pickup in it in your acoustic. It's kind of, there'll be a battery somewhere. It might be in the sound hole. It might be really awkward to change, or it might just be a little pop out the pack and put another one in.
Because have you been using Yamaha desk for a while now?
Yes, yeah. Back even from like analog days when you used to have the PM3K, 4K stuff a long time ago. And then when digital happened, the PM5 was like legendary, still going strong. It's still out there. They just live forever.
Yeah, super reliable.
And they are mega reliable, those things and whatnot. And the new consoles that came out, the Rivage series, that's built on that, and it sounds amazing. It sounds really pristine. It's a great console. I'm using the PM7 at the moment.
Right.
And it's like reliability, number one. Nothing has gone wrong with it. And any rental company, they pretty much know that when they send like a PM7, a PM10 or whatever out the door, it's not going to go wrong. It'll come back. They'll just erase the show file, send it back out again.
Yeah.
It'll be grand. And it's fantastic. It's really easy to use. You can navigate the thing, find out all the bits you want, and it has everything on board. I don't use any external equipment at all.
No, just
what's on board. It's got all the classic stuff from back in the day with the SPXs and stuff to the new modelled things that are out there, all the greatest reverbs and stuff. There's a Bricasti on that thing and everything. It's just a mega expensive rack mount reverb. It's got inbuilt Bricastis. All kinds of stuff, some TC electronic stuff, some great sounding emulations on board.
Yeah.
And also it's got Rupert Neve's signature on it, so it's not a bad thing. As anyone who's ever worked in a recording studio, they're like, Neve, SSL, any of those guys, you're kind of like, yes.
That's the one.
Yeah, exactly.
What is something that people often overlook when they are mixing live bands?
One thing that people often overlook is the actual band. They're not watching the band on stage. They're too caught up in what they're doing or trying to find their way around the console they've got. So pay attention, look up at the act. Someone might have moved, the mic might have fallen off. Someone else might be singing now, and you're like, why isn't it? That. He might have got into the audience now. Why is that fed back? Oh, he just jumped in front of a speaker with his microphone. So watch. You should reach a point where you're comfortable with what you're using, that you don't have to stare at it all the time. You watch the band, watch the show, see what's going on. Guitar solos coming up, watch the guitar. All right, push him a bit and, use your eyes.
Yeah,
as well
read
as your
what's
ears.
actually going on in the
use,
event.
use all your senses. If you hear it and it sounds great, and that's brilliant, yeah, but just watch as well. Just pay attention to what's going on, because something might be about to happen or about to change, and if you can preempt it, brilliant.
Yeah.
It's like all the plugins and technology and stuff in the world, the best compressor and stuff and whatnot is your finger.
Yeah.
You know what's coming. It doesn't.
Yeah.
So you can go, oh, he's gone there, he's done that. Oh, he's about to. He stood in front of the speaker on that side. I'll just pan him this way a bit then. So there's less in that side and most of it's over there. So people can still hear it, but it's not going to feed back if I just pan it that way a bit.
Yeah.
Also, just keep an eye out. Just watch what's going on. Very important if you're a monitor engineer, watch the stage.
Right. Okay.
Don't have your head down in your desk, because people might be waving at you trying to get your attention. I can't hear the click track.
Yeah,
Drummer's trying to play. It's like, turn the click off. and you're looking over there somewhere and not paying attention. It's like, just watch the scan. Pay attention to your most important member. There's always like a leader, the singer or whoever the most important person is. Make sure you're paying attention to them, because ultimately they'll pay your wages or fire you.
Yeah.
And keep an eye on everybody else. And if they ask for something, acknowledge it so they know you've paid attention and you can change it, and look and nod and say like, is that okay?
Yeah.
Have you got that now? And they'll be like, great.
Right, I've got it. So
Carry on. Because they're trying to play an instrument, they can't always convey. Nowadays, you'll have talk mics or switch mics. You have a little stomp button and you can, and he can go, I need more of the click track.
Yeah.
I need more of myself. I need less of this. Or can you turn him down? He's now loud. And you can turn it down. So always pay attention when you're monitoring.
Always pay attention to what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
Guess
it's a simple thing.
Yeah.
But literally overlooked by, look.
Yeah, actually look, don't get too bogged in on
look.
what's going on.
Yeah, that's pretty common. People aren't paying attention.
People just look, if you're just doing that and focusing on their sound and not realizing.
Yeah, and you're like, hang on,
changing.
Your singer's at front of the house, he's been in the audience, and you're like, oh, yeah. They go like, oh, okay, all right, there's no coverage for you.
Yeah, you want everyone to have a good sound, no matter where they're sitting. It could be super close, super far.
Yeah, I'd rather it sounds okay for everyone than it sounds amazing for some people and rubbish for some people.
Yeah, because they've all paid the money to be there.
There's no point hanging your PA and firing it all down at these people and all the people up. When you go to an arena, there's more people set up in the bleachers and the bowl and stuff than there is on the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, they might be the hardcore fans. They got in there first. They got the early tickets. But there's more people in the bowl than there is on the floor.
Yeah.
In the arena.
So you shoot it out at them lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Coverage.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
not necessarily like volume. It doesn't need to be dead loud. It just needs to be clear and coverage.
You find that there's always like a fight between having something loud and having something just clear.
Yeah. Well, if it is nice and clear, you shouldn't have to push it too much. You'll find that the intelligibility works for you and you can hear it and you're like, okay. If you want to add a bit more vibe and a bit more thump to it, then that's easy to do. You just push your master faders up a little bit more.
Right, okay, good. Well, Steve, thank you very much for coming, and thank you for sharing all your insights, all your experience, all your knowledge, and we hope to have you back again soon.
Thanks for having me and listening to me ramble on.
Yeah, it's been great, mate, great. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please do comment below and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.